Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Win, Lose or Draw. Bueno will not let me film in peace, so she's up here for the time being. We'll see how we get on, but it's another packed weekend of championship action for us to get into, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So yep guys, Bueno is right here. She's having a great time nibbling on my thumb. And talking of Bueno actually, sorry there wasn't an episode last week. I'm going to try and make sure we get these up weekly ahead of every single week, but she was being quite tricky to deal with last week and I just did not have time to get a video up as well. But Bueno, actually, if we take a look back at the results of the first week, she's actually beating me. Let's have a look at this. She's got 4 correct results. She even predicted Luton to beat Barnsley, which nobody got, and also Reading to beat Derby. Obviously, Reading have had a great start to the season. Meanwhile, guys, I predicted Watford and Norwich to win along with Swansea, but you did even better. 5 points you got along with Rotherham and Bournemouth. You predicted both of them to win. To make up for last week, what I'm going to do is add 5 points to everybody's score, which means the current scores look like this. I am on 8 points, bottom of the table. Bueno is on 9 and you guys on Twitter are on 10 points. So there we go. That's what happened in the first game week. We've made up for last week. So now all that's left to do is get into this weekend's predictions. Okay guys, so let's get into Friday night's game. Not a cracker if I'm honest. Huddersfield versus Nottingham Forest. Huddersfield with no wins from their opening 2 games, with no goals either. But having said that, they've played Norwich and Brentford, 2 of the favourites for the division, and not come out with anything at all. Probably the toughest start they could have had. Meanwhile, Forest a bit of an easier start, also no wins, also no goals. They're in trouble at the moment. Sabri Lamucci needs to get his men going and get a win here. Let's see what you guys think of this game. You guys think 61% of you think Forest will beat Huddersfield. I tell you what, if they lose this one, they're in serious trouble. Meanwhile, I think Forest will win this one. I can't see Huddersfield getting anything. I don't think they're strong this season. I think they are relegation contenders, as you can see in my 1-24 championship predictions. So I'm going for a Forest win here. Up next, Wycombe versus Swansea. It's not been a good start for Wycombe either, has it? 2 losses, 0 points, 0 goals scored. 5-0 loss to Blackburn last time out. That red card didn't help. Meanwhile, Swansea have been all right. That 1-0 win over Preston North End and a 0-0 draw at Birmingham. That's a solid start for them. Obviously, no goals conceded is a massive positive for Steve Cooper and his side. So it's not an exciting game, this one either, to begin with. Let's be honest, I'm not expecting masses of goals from these opening 2 games, but I do think Wycombe are going to struggle this season. And for that reason, I'm going for a Swansea win. You guys, unsurprisingly, agree with me. 72% of you think Swansea will win. Up next for me, Watford versus Luton, a fierce rivalry, a huge derby in this division. They haven't played each other in a little while. It's sad to see the fact that Graham Taylor's statue has had to be boarded up. That's sad to see. You don't want to see that. But Watford have had a decent start to the season, actually. That 1-0 win over Borough on the opening weekend and a 0-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. Perhaps disappointed not to get all 3 points from that one. Having said that, they are still gelling. There's a lot of players in the squad that were beaten by Newport quite easily in the League Cup in midweek. Meanwhile, Luton, what is there to say about Nathan Jones and this team? 2 wins out of 2, absolutely flying. Jordan Clark's late goal got the win for them over Derby, and they've just done so well at the start of this season. Luke Berry's on the score sheet. He's looking good. Of course, James Collins, you know he is going to get goals in this team. I can't call this one, so I'm going for a draw straight down the middle. You guys think Watford will get the job done. 67% of you think the Hornets will come out on top. Barnsley versus Coventry up next, and Barnsley again struggling at the start of this season. 2 losses out of 2 and no goals scored. That's quite a pattern we've seen so far in the games I've predicted. Meanwhile, Coventry are looking pretty good. Going back to Barnsley, 2 red cards versus Reading they got. I think both of those players will be available for this game, but up front they're just lacking a goal scorer, lacking a striker. Chaplin, Woodrow not really cutting it in terms of goal scoring at the moment. Meanwhile, Coventry, my team, Matty Godden on fire, 2 goals from 2. They look good going forward against QPR, but they do look weak from set pieces, defending them. 2 goals against Bristol City and QPR they've let in, which really they shouldn't have. Having said that, I think Coventry should be winning this game, so I'm going for a Coventry win. I'm back in my boys. You guys agree with me on this one, actually. 51% of you think Coventry will beat Barnsley this weekend. Preston versus Stoke up next. Now, I think Ryan Ledson was absolutely superb in that 2-2 draw against Norwich. If anything, Preston should have come out with that game with all 3 points. It wasn't to be, and that is the only point they've got on the board so far. Meanwhile, Stoke, another team with only a point on the board against Millwall. But the big thing for Stoke, they haven't actually scored a goal yet. In fact, against Bristol City in that 2-0 defeat, they didn't even get a shot on target. So things need to change up front for Michael O'Neill's men, and quickly, otherwise they're going to seriously struggle at the start of this season. I think Preston will probably have too much for Stoke on this occasion, and on this occasion again, you guys agree with me. Don't worry, we're going to disagree soon. 49% of you think Preston will beat Stoke. Derby versus Blackburn now, and Derby for me, a poor start to the season, not what the fans expected. They lost against Reading and Luton. Wayne Rooney playing in perhaps more of an attacking role. For me, I want to see Louis Sibley starting week in, week out. He brings a sort of energy and excitement to that team, which no one else really brings for me. Meanwhile, Blackburn, they lost 3-2 to Bournemouth on the opening day, but roared back with that 5-0 win over Wycombe Wanderers. Adam Armstrong playing centrally through the middle looks absolutely fantastic. A hat-trick against Wycombe, and he is top scorer now in the division. I think that equals goals for Blackburn. I think they're going to do well here again. So I'm backing Blackburn to beat Derby, which you guys disagree with finally. You guys think Derby will get the home win. 55% of you think that. Birmingham versus Rotherham up next, and Ita Kranker, he sorts out defences. That is just what he does, and Birmingham have looked pretty solid so far this season, yet to concede a goal, 1-0 win and a 0-0 draw against Swansea. They've done pretty well so far this season. I love the little trio at the back of Neil Etheridge in goal, Harley Dean at the back alongside George Friend. That looks like a really well-worked unit, and Kranker just loves defending, doesn't he? Meanwhile, Rotherham, bit of a trickier start. They got that win over Wycombe late on, but then were beaten by Millwall. Probably a low-scoring game this one is going to be. Both sides like to defend. I'm backing Birmingham to get the win on this occasion, and you guys agree with me. 63% of you think Birmingham will win. Millwall versus Brentford up next, and Millwall yet to concede. Obviously, this is a big thing. A lot of teams so far are yet to concede or yet to score, but Millwall, this back three they've put together, again looks really solid. Hutchinson, Pearce and Cooper, they're three good defenders at this level, as well as Bielkowski in goal. I like that as a defensive unit. Since losing to Birmingham, however, Brentford have roared back themselves. They beat Southampton in the League Cup, they beat Huddersfield 3-0 last weekend, and also they beat West Brom on penalties again in the League Cup, so they're getting going now after that opening day defeat. So I'm going to back Brentford here, guys. Quite an obvious one. They are favourites. I'm going for Brentford win. You guys agree with me. 54% of you think Brentford will beat Millwall. Cardiff versus Reading up next. Reading top of the league. Who would have thought that? But Cardiff, a 2-0 win over Nottingham Forest. Kiefer Moore with both goals. He's going to turn out to be a pretty good signing for the Bluebirds. I think Reading 2 from 2. They're on fire. John Swift, Lucas Zhao. It's a nice little attacking lineup they've got. 2-0 win over Derby. A 2-0 win over Barnsley, but they did have a few players sent off. But yeah, this is a really good game looking at it. I can't really call this one, so yet again, I'm going for a draw because I like Neil Harris at Cardiff, and I also like the Reading start. So I'm going for a draw. You guys think that Reading will continue their perfect start. 59% of you think Reading will win this one. QPR versus Middlesbrough now. And first of all, get well soon, Neil Warnock. We want to see you back in the dugout as soon as possible. But QPR, defensively, they do look a bit shaky, don't they? They got beaten 3-2 by Coventry on Friday night, conceded 3 pretty poor goals from their perspective. Lyndon Dykes is looking like a good striker. He's hit the net twice from the penalty spot so far. Meanwhile, Middlesbrough 1-0 loss to Watford on the opening weekend and a 1-1 draw with Bournemouth. I think they'll be reasonably satisfied with that start, to be honest. They've not looked too bad at all. Change it to that 3-5-2 formation. Hopefully Marcus Brown gets a bit more game time after his equaliser last weekend. Tricky one to call again. I'm backing Middlesbrough on this occasion to get the away win. QPR's defensive struggles to continue. You guys think QPR will actually win this one. 43% of you think they'll beat Borough. On to the penultimate game. It is Bristol City versus Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday with an amazing start really after their points deduction, up to -8 points after a win and a draw. They're looking pretty good, to be honest. That 0-0 with Watford's a decent result on paper. They even could have won that one. I don't actually think they'll go down anymore. I think they made a good start. I think they've got the bit between their teeth. They're keen to make up ground, but we'll have to see how they get on. I think they'll do all right. But Bristol City, I am all about Bristol City this season. They've looked fantastic so far. 2 wins from 2, but in recent games is where they've come on leaps and bounds, beating Northampton really comfortably and Stoke 2-0 in a brilliant performance. I think Tyreek Backinson in the midfield was absolutely excellent for them, and they've got players to come back from injury soon enough. So I'm backing Bristol City to get the win over Sheffield Wednesday, but I'm impressed with Sheffield Wednesday so far this season. You guys, so impressed by Sheffield Wednesday. In fact, you've backed 40% of you think they will get all 3 points in this game. And we finish with Bournemouth versus Norwich. A tough one here, two relegated side. Bournemouth 3-2 winners over Blackburn and a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough. Meanwhile, Norwich also got 4 points on the board so far. That tour with Preston was a really exciting game. I'm impressed with Solanke so far for Bournemouth. I think he can really score goals for them this season. And Norwich are looking good. Puckie's got his movement back, it seems, although they have lost Kieran Dowd to injury now for an extended period of time, so that really might affect them. We don't know what's happening with Max Aarons either. Will he stay or will he go to Barcelona? You'd expect him to go, wouldn't you? They've also loaned out Sam McCallum to Coventry, so not sure who's going to line up in defence for them this weekend. Tough one to call here. I've got to sit on the fence yet again, have a few splinters. I'm going for a draw. Meanwhile, you guys, 43% of you think Bournemouth will get the home win over Norwich here. So those are our predictions, but now it is time for the main event. What does Bueno think will happen this weekend? Let's have a look. Hey Bueno, I'm holding you back because you're very eager today, but Huddersfield Forest on Friday night. She's gone with Nottingham Forest first. Nottingham Forest to win that one. Okay, we're on to Wycombe versus Swansea here. She's gone for a draw in that one. Wycombe versus Swansea is going to end in a draw. Okay, up next is Watford Luton. We know this is a massive game and Bueno's gone for Luton. What a result that would be. Barnsley v Coventry up next. There's a good girl. She knows which side her bread's buttered there. Barnsley versus Coventry. That'll be a Coventry win. Up next, Preston versus Stoke. Straight down the middle for Bueno. A draw. How about Derby versus Blackburn? Bueno, what do you think of this one? An away win, Blackburn. And I've changed ends here for Birmingham Rotherham. It's an easy Rotherham win. And now oh, she's so quick, but that was Brentford to beat Millwall. Now we are on to Cardiff versus Reading, and it's a Reading away win. That'll be 3 out of 3 for the Royals. Bueno, today, do you fancy QPR or Borough? Borough, she loves an away win this weekend. Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, straight down the middle, a draw from Bueno for that one. And finally, Bueno, Bournemouth versus Norwich. She's gone for another Norwich win. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Did you enjoy that? You enjoy your predictions? Good girl, eh? So Bueno's predictions in yet again. I swear I'm not paying her to pick Coventry every single week, but let's have a look at the full predictions table. Some interesting ones here. We differ on quite a few of them. I think Bristol City will win, as you can see. You've gone for Sheffield Wednesday. I think Borough will beat QPR. You've gone for QPR and Bueno. She's gone for Norwich. I think that one will probably be a draw. You guys think Bournemouth will win, so someone's got to be right in that game. But cast your eyes down to the odds. Mine absolutely huge this week because I've predicted quite a few draws. 145,000 to 1. That is massive. You guys much more sensible. 38,000 to 1. So probably more realistic. Probably a chance of you extending your lead at the top this week. And Bueno, if you fancy a long shot, 793,000 to 1. Go on, Bueno. She's probably going to beat me yet again. I don't know what I'll do. I have to hang up my prediction gloves, I think, if she does beat me across the season. But for now, guys, that is it. Thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more win, lose or draw and more EFL content on this channel from around all of the clubs. But for now, that is it. I will see you on the next one.